Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Christie Sides is no longer the coach for the Indiana Fever. There were many people that didn't like hearing that Christie Sides was potentially on the chopping block and other coaches might be coming in. I totally understand that sentiment, but let's just dive into the announcement as we have received it this morning. And Indianapolis are parting ways. We are incredibly thankful to Coach Sides for embracing the challenge of leading us through an integral transition period over the last two seasons, which also positioning us well for future growth. And this is, kind of true. I mean, they've slowly got more wins over time. She did end 33 and 47 over her career, so it's not like, even though we hit 500 last season and we had historically been a bad team and it was trending up, it doesn't necessarily mean that in whole Christie Sides was, the 10x different maker or something as a head coach. But given the situation, this record isn't actually that terrible in retrospect. But again, this is said by Kelly Krauskopf, who's the new president. Moves have been taking place, GM, so on and so forth. It's natural that you're also going to change up the coach as well. And again, they continue, while decisions like these are never easy, it is also imperative that we remain bold and assertive in the pursuit of our goals, which includes maximizing our talent and bringing another WNBA championship back to Indiana. Coach Sides was an incredible representative of the Fever in our community, and we wish her nothing but success in the future. Which really is all to say that, the stakes have changed. Things have leveled up. We're no longer playing with the expectations of, hey, we're going to slowly improve on this 5-year plan or whatever the previous front office coach combo had planned. Right? Well, we always planned 5 years, but then it came. I mean, you get Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. She's a difference maker. She is the future of the WNBA and the style that they want to play, much like, Steph Curry came in, started making teams believers in the three-pointer. And now if you look at the focus of teams that went from this time capsule of you can't teach size, bigs are the thing, to now you got teams out there taking 60 3-pointers a game. It's because they know just statistically it's better. And on top of that, you have the Indiana Pacers with Tyrese Halliburton, just right there in the building. And they're playing fast-paced transition offense with a really solid half-court game, which also leverages the fact that they have a bunch of three-point killers. And the only other team this year that I felt kind of had a similar talent pool was actually the Lynx, who were in the finals. Now, their three-point shooting didn't actually carry through in the playoffs, which is crazy. But they're a team that had 5 3-point threats. Even Fee was a 3-point threat. So looking at the makeup of this team and what you want to build, and I applaud Christie Sides because Christie Sides, again, I said in a recent video, go check it out, which goes through a coach's carousel, that I think that she did improve. Now, it wasn't enough. I didn't think it was enough, and neither did the front office because of the stakes and what you want to do. But she went from an assistant coach that was kind of reluctant to taking a team and learning on the job and asking for help and getting help. And that's what you need to do as a head coach with this much pressure, especially if you're new. And the fact is she's new and she was developing. But the problem is the team right now doesn't need a coach that's developing. They need, again, a coach that, can be bold and help them be assertive in their new goals to win a championship. Because that's what we want to do. They want to not win a championship in 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, whatever they had left in the plan. They want to win a championship now. They want to stack up the roster and they want to go, which is so exciting as a Fever fan. And what you want to see from a front office, and just from the start of Kelly being the first domino and the first move and then seeing everything happen along, it is very exciting as a fan knowing that, hey, they're hungry. You're no longer in this phase where we're going to settle for losing and building up the roster and rebuilding. It's like, we got Caitlin, we can get pieces, we have a draw, we have a unique thing to recruit on. Alls we need is, probably 2 more solid pieces and a really good coach that has experience, and we can go for it. And so it makes sense that this is the move. Again, I want to acknowledge though that there's a human part of this, right? As much as you may have not liked Christie Sides, and as much as she has done stuff that, either throwing players under the bus early and trying to have to learn how to be media trained, which is a WNBA thing in general, just because the league is immature and young, and it, as far as its development, the league itself, not the players in it necessarily, but it's just in that stage. And so she, had not great in-game adjustments. She had lineup woes for a lot of the season. Eventually got to the right answer, but it took her a long time. There was also just egregious moments, she's called timeout. If you have a fast-paced transition offense with Caitlin Clark, you need to be really in tune with your team and the pace that they're playing at and what they're operating at, because there were times, and it was more than once this year, I believe, where she called a timeout and literally canceled out points. Like Caitlin Clark is throwing a full court pass to whoever on the team, and they're putting it in. I think there's one with like she full court pass. I think it was like Katie Lou, back when Katie Lou was in the starting lineup, like full court pass to Katie Lou, who put it up and in, and Sides called a timeout while the ball was in the air and canceled out an open bucket. So there's just little things like that where it's like, hey, if we get into the playoffs again, we don't want to get you more playoff experience. We want someone that has experience in championship situations and building championship teams, and that's who we want to carry us into that. We want a real general on our side and problem solver and problem creator for the opposing teams we play that are all going to be super stacked and talented, be great at defense, have a Stewie, an Asia, a Fee, what have you. We need to be able to battle that, and our current roster just doesn't do that. So acknowledging the fact that there are humans involved in this, it's not just Christie Sides. When Christie Sides gets fired, it's not, okay, Christie Sides goes out and they bring in the new head coach and all the other staff, assistant coaches, trainers, everybody necessarily stays. Those usually coaches will bring in other assistant coaches and staff potentially. So while some of those folks may stay with the Indiana Fever, it's not just Christie Sides who goes when the coach goes. So have to acknowledge the human side of that, right? People weren't making $500,000 a year and don't have this on their resume now. They're going to go as well. So, and they might have kids, family, whatever. So that's just the tough part about sports. That's just natural. It's part of the business. But again, the stakes have risen. There's no more, we're going to just chill out here and keep the experiment going. The timeline has moved up. And of course, we have to talk about who is going to replace her. Because if they're going to fire her now, that means that talks have probably moved along. There was a lot of no comments to the Stephanie White inquiries. And there has been rumors that, again, Kurt Miller, Stephanie Busk, those kind of folks, those are the people that are the prime candidates, in my opinion, along with Stephanie White. There's a lot of other folks that fans would love, like Lisa Bluter, Cheryl Miller, but I don't think that those two are likely. I think that they are just not on the table because they are retired and have other priorities, life goals, whatever. And so let me just run through the candidates real quick just to talk about it a little bit. Kurt Miller, again, he was the coach of the Sparks. There has been rumors that he has also been interviewing with the Sky, although that was not mentioned if Kurt Miller was interviewing with the Fever. But he would be a coach that would give you, again, championship experience. He'll fight for the players. He's familiar with the Indiana org. Wasn't good in the Sparks stint, but was in the semifinals or better in every single one of the seasons he coached for the Sun. So that's a pretty good resume. Then you have Jenny Busk, and Jenny is basically the heir apparent in the Indiana Pacers organization as an assistant coach. And so I think that she would be able to run the fast-paced offense. She has a lot of experience with the WNBA, a lot of experience in the NBA now, coaching, and basically, again, like how I alluded to the future of the sport with Caitlin Clark and how offenses want to play. She understands that. She's been in it. And her downside is obviously that she didn't perform super well as a head coach, but she did have success in Seattle, and the Monarchs were 500 by the time she left, but they were over 500 in the full 2 seasons I think that she was coaching. And the last season she was 3-10. I think there was some front office changes and so on that got her booted as well. And then last but not least, Stephanie White. We've talked about her a lot. A lot of people are like, where are you getting your information? I don't believe this. They're not going to let Christie Sides go. And I hate to tell you, but I was right. So again, and I won't always be right. I'm going to be wrong way more than I'm right. But I think that Stephanie White is a pretty likely candidate given all the stats of she can build a defense, again, has playoff deep run experience, proven track record, roots in Indiana, grew up, family there, family's important to her, and she has coached the Indiana Fever before. And when she got them to a championship and coached against Maya Moore and the amazing Lynx team of yore, and I think she'd be a great candidate. And if they pick up Stephanie White, if they pick up Satu Sabali, like has been rumored, and they get 1 or 2 other solid pieces, put on your shoes, put on your running championship shoes, because we're making a run. It's happening. Get on board. Let's go. So I'm excited as a Fever fan. Again, acknowledge the human side of this. Acknowledge that Christie Sides did effectively, whether you liked how she got there or not, or you feel like Caitlin carried or not, she did what was asked of her, and you have to at least give her that. And then other than that, I think this is the correct choice. So with that, leave your comment down below. Tell me what you think. Who do you think the Fever are going to hire in her stead? Are you excited for this change? Are you disappointed by this change? And leave a like, leave a subscribe. I'm a new channel, and thank you for getting me to 2,000 subscribers. It's crazy, man. There's just there's so much more that I'm excited to talk about coming up here. But with that, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. Catch you next episode.